Thanks for having me, California Ag Today. I'm talking to you from Anaheim right now, where we've been having this advocacy conference that's sponsored by Bayer Crop Science. And for 2 days now, we've been talking about this interesting combination of innovation and collaboration to take agriculture into its next phases and stages, and really how we're going to feed the world and how we're going to see, if we're going to see, sustainable agriculture. And that means sustaining a business. It also means sustaining the planet. So day one was really about some of the new ideas and innovations that are coming into agriculture. So for example, we heard from a guy who's developing drones and how drones can be used in agriculture, not just to take pictures, but to help farmers figure out what's happening with their crops and in their soil and how much water that they can save by virtue of what they're seeing. We heard a lot today about collaboration between NGOs and the private sector, industry and government, and how necessary that is to figure out how the regulatory system is going to be mastered, whether and how we're really going to be able to feed 10 billion people, whether and how GMO and other biological sciences are going to be not only incorporated but embraced. You know, a really big theme here over these last couple of days, and something that came up over and over and over again, was the notion of trust, and the kind of trust that consumers have in agriculture and in big ag and in farmers, and what everybody can do to enhance the trust. And the artist has captured some of these elements here. So for example, this one, writing and telling our stories. This is a theme that came up a lot, with the idea that people need to be more transparent, need to explain what's happening. We had some really interesting conversations from farmers who've opened up their farms, and they're like tour guides now, explaining what they do to a public that increasingly is disconnected from food and how food is grown and what goes into that process. We also heard a lot more about transparency and the need for transparency from corporations and scientists alike to explain what they're doing and why they're doing, so people understand what their food is all about and where it's coming from. Really interesting conversation too, which I love. And let's see if we've got some of this here. Creating a dialogue about food waste, this idea of dialogue with people, changing consumer patterns, changing consumer tastes, both at the restaurant in terms of what people are ordering and in terms of their expectations for the kinds of ideas and responsibility, environmental awareness that millennials and other customers are imposing on food. So this is an incredibly interesting, dynamic process, and the idea of advocating, explaining clearly, truthfully, and credibly really is the key, or certainly one of the keys to future prosperity on the farm and beyond. So it's been a great time, and thanks California Ag Today for letting me speak for a couple of minutes and share some of this really dynamic dialogue that we've had and so much of what's going on inside agriculture today.